For more on what's happening inside the courtroom, I'm joined by Haran Vijayanathan from the Alliance for South Asian AIDS Prevention. And he's also been in touch with some of the victims' families. Thank you for being with us, Haran.
Thank you for having me.
So you've just stepped away from the courtroom briefly to speak with us. Thank you for that. Can you quickly describe for us what it's like inside the court right now?
Well, it's really heavy. There's a few tears and people I think are just in shock in terms of what they're hearing. They're not going into too much detail, but they are explaining with some detail of the occurrences. So it's just heavy in the room, if I can say that.
And we did get a chance to speak with someone who said that within the community, a lot of these details have been known. Were some of the details a surprise, though?
No, I mean, if the community has been saying that there's a serial killer amongst us or someone who's a murderer amongst us for a long time since Skanda went missing, and then the two Middle Eastern men after Abdul Faizi and Majid Kayan. And so, it's no surprise, but, just when you hear the details of it, it's a little taxing.
Taxing and heavy for certain. And you've been also speaking with some of the families of the victims. So what does the sentencing hearing mean to them? How are they feeling in that courtroom?
I think, for the ones that I'm speaking to, they're saying that I've been supporting, have been saying that they're really grateful that this whole process is happening, that they were able to bring him to justice, and that a decision is going to be made, and they're having faith in the justice system to ensure that he gets the proper sentence. Again, it is hard for them to hear all this. The folks who can't speak English, or English is not their first language, they do have translators that are translating, so it's heavy on them. So I think during the lunch break we'll get a better sense of how people are feeling, and I'm always there to listen and support as best as I can.
Now, everyone always reacts to these sorts of details and processes differently. Has anyone said that they're sort of getting a sense of closure by learning more information about how it happened and about the investigation, about the work that police did?
Yeah. Well, the word closure is an interesting word. I don't think with grief and with death especially, and death in this way, I don't think anyone really ever gets closure. What they do is get some pieces of their lives and some questions answered so that they can start moving forward. So they may close that chapter but come back to revisit on a regular basis. So yeah, it's the starting of the process to start healing. But again, as they go home and sit with the information and they are able to think about it some more, I think it'll get a bit more difficult for them. And again, we hope that, and the Crown was very direct this morning to the families and to the room himself to say that, take care of yourselves, because this can actually cause a lot of mental health concerns for folks, and could be physically and mentally exhausting.
And we know, for example, Haran, that in this first day of the sentencing hearing, we're hearing a lot of the details of the investigation, for example, but we know there will also be victim impact statements. And you've submitted a victim impact statement on behalf of the community. Can you share with us at all some of what you are intending to say?
Yeah, so it was a community impact statement that we submitted as ASAP, the Alliance for South Asian AIDS Prevention, not a victim impact statement specifically. So we spoke about how this has really troubled the community, especially, and I went right back to 2010 and 2012 to talk about how Middle Eastern and South Asian men went missing, and how now it's left an aura of distrust within the community of people and dating and relationships, and talking about the mental and physical strains that it has put on people. People are hesitant to go out to meet people, date. There's a lot of depression, anxiety that comes in. So, and we've been offering a lot of these spaces for people to come in and share some of their thoughts and feelings. And so that's what we use to put into our community impact statement. I just didn't want to make anything up, but I wanted to speak to what I've been hearing and what we as an organization have been hearing through our one-on-one programs as well as our group sessions.
Now, for you personally, Haran, you've been there for a lot of the relatives of these families who may not understand the procedures that are taking place right now, and you've been writing this impact statement as well. Plus, you've been listening to all of the details that are coming out in the courtroom. How are you personally coping? How are you doing today?
Yeah, I mean, ever since we took this on as an agency, and then ever since I started supporting the families as an individual with the funerals, I've made sure that I had my work brain on more so than my individual personal brain, if I can describe it that way. It just helps me disconnect myself, and it's a learning process for me as well. I don't know the system very well to offer this guidance, so it's a matter of playing a go-between between the police or the Crown and the families themselves, and answering some of those questions or asking those questions on behalf of the family. So it's been a learning process for me, and again, I've been coping so far with just having my work brain on, if I could say that.
Well, I'm sure they are all very grateful to you for the work that you're doing, and we appreciate the time you've taken out to speak with us today. Thank you so much, Haran.
Thank you for having me.
That is Haran Vijayanathan from the Alliance of South Asian AIDS Prevention.